And welcome to the September 2013 edition of Outlook Video, your nationally recognized award-winning news magazine for LGBT communities. I'm Roberta Gonzalez-Gregg.
Hi everyone, I'm Tom Smith. Hey Roberta, I missed it and I haven't seen you in a while, but how was San Francisco Pride this year?
There's only one word to explain it: electric. And that's because everyone was so excited. We'll talk some more about that.
Rulings. Wow.
Yes.
With the Supreme Court rulings favorable to our LGBT community being announced mere days before San Francisco Pride, there was plenty to celebrate. But didn't our first segment happen before the rulings?
It certainly did, but there was plenty of enthusiasm anyway. The 39th annual Santa Cruz Pride Parade and Festival drew hundreds of participants and thousands of spectators to Pacific Avenue in downtown Santa Cruz on Sunday morning, June 2nd, 2013. Johnny Zych was there, and he will bring us coverage of the happy celebrants, basking in the joy and continuing strides towards marriage equality and the hope for gay positive rulings from the U.S. Supreme Court that would come some weeks later.
It wasn't until the 26th of June that the Supreme Court handed down its rulings that shifted the sands under those who consistently seek to deny equal rights to our LGBT community. Each small step brings us closer to full U.S. citizenship.
That's right. And here in the United States, we often take for granted the basic freedoms and rights we do enjoy simply by being citizens. Yet even today, especially as the United States makes headway in granting equality to all of its citizens, there are countries falling far behind granting these basic rights. People world round, they yearn for freedom and equality, but many countries deny this to all their citizens.
Yes, Roberta, we're not just talking about LGBT rights, of course, but basic human rights for all. Freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom from oppression. Later in her People Like Us segment, Roberta will host Maria Celia Garcia, a Cuban-born LGBT community filmmaker who has documented her family's journey from oppression in Cuba to freedom in the U.S. via her film project, Cada Alma. How's that, Roberta, for my Spanish?
Mostly bueno. Actually wonderful, Tom. But let's tell our viewers about Cada Alma in Spanish, which means every soul. It has been some months since we've enjoyed having our thoughts tickled by some of Bennett Mark's insight and guest in quite insightful commentaries. Stay tuned because Bennett's going to be coming up with Dreaming of Marriage yesterday, today, tomorrow, later in our program.
Great.
First, let's join Johnny on Pacific Avenue in downtown Santa Cruz for their Pride Parade and Festival.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 5, 7, 1.
Hi everybody, I'm Mondo Guerra, the winner of Season 1 of Project Runway All-Stars, and you are watching Outlook Video.
Welcome to this segment where we honor the diversity of the people in our community, people like us. In 1966, 6-year-old Maria Celia Garcia and her family left the tyranny of Fidel Castro's Cuba to come to the United States, fulfilling her parents' dream to live in freedom. Now, years later, as a writer, producer, director, Maria joins us to share her journey, both physical and rhetorical, in a new and very personal film project, Cada Alma, which is Spanish for every soul. Maria, thank you for joining us tonight and sharing your journey with us.
The pleasure's all mine. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Now, 3 stories, 3 families, 3 stories, 1 hope. Tell us a little bit about these stories.
Well, think about a braid, and the center braid is my parents' story, and the other 2 braids are my uncle, my paternal uncle, and my maternal uncle. And they are all intertwined. And so if you think about my parents being the center braid, they tell their stories of how they journeyed through getting married and then surviving Castro's revolution, supporting him and thinking that he was going to bring us prosperity. And what actually happened was the opposite. My father had to go from being a professional with so much integrity to having to deal in contraband to feed my sister and my mother and I. And then my Uncle Nelson, my dad's brother, he had to escape illegally to avoid getting executed and had to go across the treacherous 90-mile straits to get to the United States. My other uncle, my mom's brother, wasn't as fortunate. He actually was caught trying to escape and spent 7 years in a Cuban prison being tortured.
Oh my goodness. Oh, this sounds like a lot of hardships. Now, we have, here in the U.S., we have many immigrant stories. Well, we're a nation of immigrants. What makes these stories so unique and, well, and really kind of tough?
Well, you know, what's really interesting, Roberta, is that they're not so unique. There's so many Cubans that were, as fortunate as we are, that were able to reach the United States. But on the other side, there were so many that perished at sea, trying to reach the land of freedom, the United States of America, where they could have the opportunities that I now enjoy every day.
Yes, yes. Freedom from oppression.
Freedom from oppression is one very big one, yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed, indeed. And now, did your families also, did your father lose his job while he was there? You said it was very difficult just to have him feed your family.
That's true. Well, when we applied for visas to come to this country, it was supposed to be a 90-day wait. And so my dad was automatically fired from his job because he was considered a traitor to the revolution. Oh. So then those 90 days turned into 4.5 years.
Wow.
And what happened was the Cuban Missile Crisis occurred 2 days before we were supposed to leave Cuba.
Oh my goodness.
So my father ran out of money and had to steal cows and turkeys to feed his family and risk getting caught and executed possibly for betraying the regime.
Yeah, the regime and the revolution at the time. So tell us, now your movie, Cada Alma, Every Soul. How did you pick this, and just tell us a little bit about its meaning and how it's meaningful to the story.
Well, it's Cada Alma is every soul, as you mentioned, and I think that every single one of us has a story, and we're souls that we are all walking this planet together and searching for happiness. And so I one day was driving towards this highway at night, and I saw just the lights. It was a 2-lane highway, and I saw the headlights crossing in the darkness, and I thought, each one of those headlights is a soul. How beautiful. And that's how I came up with Every Soul, or Cada Alma.
Oh, it's a really right-on name for your film, and thank you for explaining it to us. Briefly, really, rather quickly, now, also you are the LGBT community. How was it in Cuba for homosexuals? Was it very difficult as well?
Yes, it was. In fact, homosexuals in Cuba in the 60s and 70s, when I would have been there, I understand that they were banished off to this little island the size of Alcatraz.
Wow.
And which I guess if you're gay, it's not so bad to be all bunched up together, but you know, but it wasn't, you know, they were considered lepers, basically.
Is it more like a prison though?
Yes.
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 Okay, so it wasn't really having fun on the island.
No, not really.
Quite the opposite. Yes. Okay. Well, it would be great to see some change. Are you hoping for some change with this film to take place?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Do you remain hopeful?
I always have hope.
Okay. All right. Very good. And tell us, how can the trailer Cada Alma, produced by Maria Garcia, is on your website, and so how can people find out more about this and help you out with this and support you?
Well, I'm so glad you asked.
Yes.
Folks can go to cadaalma.com, and there they can see the trailer, both with English subtitles and Spanish, and they can also learn more about how they can help us to make our movie.
Excellent. The film trailer is Cada Alma, produced by Maria Celia Garcia and her family's lives trapped in communist Cuba. For more information on her film, port your web browsers to cadaalma.com and to her Facebook page at Facebook, Cada Alma, the movie. So we'll be looking forward to that. Thank you so much again for being with us, Maria.
Thank you so much for having me.